Ready, right? Good evening, everybody. We're at the courthouse for legislative session. It is Wednesday, February 18th, and we're going to say the pledge and then go into the meeting.
Trustee Fritchie,
Present.
Trustee White,
Present.
Yost,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Lopez,
Here.
and Mayor Levin.
Here.
Okay, we're going to start this evening off with public hearings. Public hearing in the matter of proposed local law 2026, amending Chapter 270, zoning cannabis. Is there anyone that's here to talk about the proposed local law amending the Chapter 270 for zoning cannabis?
Okay.
Okay, is
Anybody
there anyone
online?
online? Okay. All right, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, a public hearing, request hardship exemption for T-zoning district moratorium, 50 North Malcolm Street. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on that?
Good evening.
Into the mic. Good evening. So I'm a long-term resident of Ossining. I'm Tanja Ridgeway, 68 North Malcolm Street. So there has always been a church there at that location. That's not a problem. However, problem is that that area is already congested with parking. So, for example, when St. Matthew's Church was up and running, on Sundays, you would have parking from 11 to 1, the latest. With the daycare center, you would have parking for short periods of time while parents are dropping their kids off, picking them up. Again, no later than 6 o'clock in the evening time. But when you put on their community center, you're talking about the possibility of having cars parked on the streets all day long, multiple cars. And again, that area, Ann Street, North Malcolm Street, Sarah Street, Tilda Street, Van Wyck are all heavily populated and crowded with parking. It's a problem now. And we had a huge problem with just having all of the snow that was built up over the past, few weeks. But even minus that, I live right on the corner. So therefore, we're dealing with people having to pass one another. There's supposed to be no parking here to corner on the corners of Malcolm, Sarah, Van Wyck, and the police officers drive by and don't do anything about that. So if we can't police that now, how is that going to be policed if you guys allow that building to now become not just a worship center, but a community center also?
So you're concerned that the conversation last week about the mosque coming into the church, one religious organization into the other. This is not a Q&A.
No,
I'm
I have
getting,
no
no,
problem with
I'm
the
getting clarity. No,
denomination.
I wasn't, I know it's a listening time, but there are times I want to be clear. Your issue is the parking.
Correct.
That is your issue. The secondary issue that the police should be enforcing the signage with or without the snow. With the snow, I think they've been a little bit more lenient, understanding, but like that enforced, separate issue.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying you named 5 or 6 streets. You have a concern when it was I just want to repeat what you said so I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When it was functioning as a church, churches have 2 hours, and so the parking was limited and livable. But community centers have very wide hours.
Correct.
If I'm hearing correctly, and you'd like to bring it to our attention, that you're concerned about it, because now the window of amount of hours and number of hours and number of cars, you don't think reasonable for the community.
That is correct. It's
Okay.
currently congested now.
Got it.
Because you have multifamily homes, you have single family homes with multifamilies in it. So where you would normally think that, 2 cars would be parking per house, you have 4 to 6, maybe even 8 cars.
Yeah.
So it's completely crowded, congested, and I don't think this would be good for the neighborhood.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
Is there anyone that would like to speak?
Back of what my wife said. My name is Erwin Ridgway.
So I'm just going to ask you to
Malcolm
speak
Street.
into the mic because for the recording part, unless you're actually on the mic, nobody hears you. So
No problem.
welcome.
Should I speak again? Should I repeat?
Just repeat. Yes, that was my point.
Yeah. My name is Erwin Ridgway. I live at 68 North Malcolm Street. And I just want to piggyback off of what Tanja said. Place of worship, beautiful. Daycare, wonderful. But yes, the main concern is parking. Now, I'm not trying to throw the police department under the bus, but something needs to be do better in policing the area for parking. When we have this in the neighborhood now, we're going to have a serious problem with congestion. There's places where you're not supposed to park, and I'm not throwing police department under the bus. This is a separate meeting to deal with that issue, but something to do better with parking as far as parking enforcement is a 9 to 5, and that's a problem. And police officers, sometimes they feel the need not to give a ticket like it's beneath them, but we deal with a lot of issues on that corner, horn blowing all types of night because people can't go around each other. So therefore, to bring something like this into the community, which I'm not trying to be against, but the only thing that makes me against it is congestion. That's going to drive me crazy over here.
Okay.
So I just want to voice my opinion on that. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you coming in. I thank you for going on record about wanting the police to ticket more. We usually get people in here complaining that they ticket too much. I will be referring to this piece of the video. And I'm not belittling what you're saying. I think that you want your neighborhood, there are rules, everybody should be following them, and the police should be enforcing 24 hours a day. Is
Right.
what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, and people might think because I have off-street parking that I have no problems with it. But when I was parking on the streets and live in different places, if I have to drive 2 blocks to park, I'm gonna do so. Because after a while, those tickets piled up. But I don't know if the tickets are being issued or they're being dismissed or what's going on, but people is deliberately not respecting the area in which.
I appreciate you coming in with that. Thank you.
Right.
Anybody else? No, it's not a Q&A. It's the public speaking to elected officials.
Anyone online?
If anyone online wants to raise their virtual hand for this item, we'll bring you over. Going to be bringing over Alton Walker. On just a moment, if you can turn your camera on. Unmute. You're on here twice, so I'll bring you both over. Walker?
See the name.
Hello?
So is he not able
Did he
to?
raise his hand?
I don't know why he's not. I see the name, so he's on.
Oh, no, he's.
There is the microphone with the mute. He has to unmute. Sir, you have to unmute.
Okay. Camera.
He's getting there. How are you?
Okay. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you've got two tablets or something on. One has to be turned off. You got it? Okay, we're good.
Okay. My concern is I've been living at that address
Excuse me, sir, could
since
you just give us?
1972.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't mind the worship, as my neighbors say. The thing is the parking and also the traffic. I used to play on that street as a kid all day. Now you can't And with a community center coming there, it's going to be trouble. In the morning time, I have problems to get out my driveway. I live right in front of the church. And that's one of my biggest concerns. And as a recreation center, I don't know who's coming in and who's going out. And I have kids and grandkids that's in the neighborhood. I worry about safety as well, too. And that's my take on the thing with, I,
Okay, we hear you. This is a listening time, so we don't necessarily respond. I was only before trying to get clarity, to make sure I understand what the issue is. So you're seconding or thirding your neighbors and
I'm
what they're
just
saying
echoing on
about.
what they're saying. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All
Mr.
right.
Walker,
Thank you.
Hold
Mr.
on.
Walker, what's your address?
55 North Malcolm. I live right across the street.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening. Anybody else?
Anyone else? Can you please raise your virtual hand? Not seeing anyone else.
Okay,
All right, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very much. Public hearing number 3, snow assessment hearings, 37 Croton Avenue. Or anyone here that wishes to speak on public hearing on snow removal, snow assessments at 37 Croton Avenue? Seeing no one in the audience, is there anyone online? All right, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Snow assessment hearings, 110 Croton Avenue. Is there anyone online? Is there anyone here? Seeing no one. Is there anyone online that wishes? Okay. There doesn't seem to be anybody here to talk on the snow assessment hearing for 110 Croton Avenue. Do I have a motion to close the public?
So moved.
Second. Sue.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mayor and trustee announcements.
Okay,
That's the end of our public hearings.
I'm sorry.
It's the end of our public hearings.
We got that. And some of you may want to stay. If you look at the agenda, you're welcome to stay, you're welcome to leave. Whatever you all want. Dana, anything? Nothing for you, right? Nothing? No announcement. I guess today starts Lent, for those celebrating. And Ash Wednesday, is today. And so for all those celebrating or starting their Lent, good luck. And I don't really have any announcement except to continue promoting. There are many Black History Months events. Happy Lunar New Year, the Year of the Horse. A lot of celebrations going on within the Asian community. And Ramadan starts this week as well. And so for those celebrating that, may your year be prosperous and joyful. And I think that's it for the announcements. We can move on.
Administrative reports, Village Manager Karen Totori.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, everyone. So I think it's sort of timely that we're talking about parking because we will have a groundbreaking tomorrow at 11 o'clock for a parking structure that's being built in the Brandreth lot, otherwise known as the Multimodal Transportation Hub. And this will address parking really in the Main Street area. We're still working on parking improvements in the rest of Ossining, where we know parking can be challenging for many residents, but we have plans for that too. We'll be coming back to present on. But right now we're speaking about a parking structure that will be built in the Brandreth lot that is actually under construction in the Brandreth lot. Tomorrow, Secretary of State Walter T. Mosley will be coming down to be there to assist the mayor in our groundmaking ceremony, along with the county executive, Ken Jenkins, our state representatives, and our local representatives for sure. And we will be meeting in the community center at 11. And then once everybody makes their comments, we'll be walking over to the site along the aqueduct for some photos, and hard hats and shovels will be provided. So with that, I would like to introduce.
Are you going to the next topic?
I I was going to introduce our presenters, but
Yeah, before you do that. So I just want to put context why this is exciting. Because we work on things so intimately in the staff, even more so, sometimes we lack the excitement that some projects should have. So this is a long, very important first of our DRI in a major way. It is for economic development and for Main Street, but it is also located by the aqueduct, which runs through the Hudson Valley. So we think it'll be attractive for people who come here on weekends, hopefully have coffee at all the different places, people with children, grandparents with grandchildren, bike riding, etc., because it's right by the aqueduct and gives a place to park. It also helps out the community center because it is just 100 yards away from the entrance. The community center is also being totally redone on the inside. So while it doesn't feel like it's in the center of our downtown, really, if you look at it, it's in the center, helping businesses and residents and community center and seniors and folks with ADA, et cetera. It's a big deal. It'll also make it more available for Sing Sing Museum that is opening up at Olive Opera House to be able to do the plans that they have, very big events. And many of the other, it's like right in the middle of everything, and it provides parking, and it provides green space, and it provides e-bikes, and there will be a facility for e-bikes. And so it's a very exciting project that really, I feel like this is a very big moment for Ossining because it really allows for projects to get elevated. And so for everybody concerned. So just wanted to pause for a minute because we've been working on it for years. And so it doesn't feel as exciting to have a groundbreaking from all over the place, but it's a big moment. And there were many people involved in the community who sat on committees who think about which DRI projects made it to the top. And this is one of the most important ones to get everything else going.
absolutely. And Mayor, thank you for that very important context. And I do also want to say this is the first of our downtown revitalization initiative projects to get off the ground. It's linchpin project, and we'll talk about this. Our consultants, Jim Zullo, Reggie Paget, and also
There it is.
Dorian De Laurentiis, who is managing the project manager for this project. Will be presenting tonight and talking about all the things in more detail. But again, the first of our DRI projects, for which in 2021 the village was awarded $10 million. So again, it's a long time coming. A lot of things take really careful planning, but this will allow the redevelopment of surface parking lots in Main Street. And we did get over $3 million from the state of New York, which is why the Secretary of State it will be here tomorrow to help fund this project. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Jim and Reggie and Dorian.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back here. This is the team. My name is Jim Zullo from THA Consulting, Reggie, Jay, and Dorian.
Nice to see you three again.
Yeah, and Dorian's on site every day, watching the job and making sure that the contractor is abiding by everything that we're trying to get done here. So just very quickly, I'll just give you a quick update. Then we're going to talk about the status of the job. Obviously, we had a tough winter. Things are really rolling along, and Dorian's going to give a breakdown. If you want to go to the next slide. So if you remember, there's going to be 243 spaces, new spaces at the parking lot. Are going to be, when the garage opens, there'll be 12 EV stations, and then the capacity, what we call EV ready, to go to 33, I think, 33 spaces. In addition to the planning of the garage, it was very important when we were here to look at how it really connected and interacted with the aqueduct trail. So there's beyond just the garage, there's a lot of landscaping, there's seating areas, things like that. Then you have the e-bike share shelter, which is going to be host to 11 bike docking stations. It's going to have capacity for 32 battery lockers so people can charge. And, this is really kind of an important thing in towns and cities where e-bikes have kind of taken over. They tend to plug in everywhere. So having a consolidated area is going to be very, I think, beneficial. There's also going to be a bike repair shop, and then space for regular bikes as well. So that's it. Obviously, again, you know, it was great working with your community. We understood how important placemaking was. Reggie had to get us past through the SHPO process as related to the grants. But right now, we just want to give you an update on where we are today. So with that, we can go to the next slide. This is just, these are renderings. As you recall, you can see the bike shelter. You know, that's the main elevator stair that you're seeing kind of on the aqueduct side. Obviously, it'll be well lit. It'll be very, you know, we really look at designing this as a very comfortable place for anybody to park and feel safe, very well lit, you know, that type of thing. So next slide. This is just the site, not the prettiest picture in the middle of January, so we'll move on. But
Well, no, I think we always assume people follow us because our meetings are very, very exciting. Everybody pays attention. But for those that may not be paying attention, there's the parking there now. Not creating a new parking space. We're going up
Vertical,
on a
yeah.
current so that's the space. I guess it's a winter picture, so you must have taken it on the past 2 weeks or so because there's
Yeah.
snow on the ground. So
week
it's
ago.
current. People know for those of us that know, this is where it is, but it already exists. It's just that we're moving, create more space on an already existing lot.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. Next slide. So Dorian's going to kind of walk us through where we are, and we just want to say too, really appreciate all the efforts of your staff, and they've been very, very helpful, making sure the project, we're doing everything we can, move it as quickly as we can, and everybody's been, your group has been very, very helpful. Pass it over.
Good evening, I'm Dorian DeLaurentis from Calgi Construction Management. Just a brief update on where we are today. Basically, if you saw the presentation or the slides, site work and utilities, the water main has been completed 100%. So there was no issue with connecting that for the community center. Your water department actually was a great help in making that happen. We do appreciate everything that they've done to help that go through without any problems. The site work utilities, right now, most of the excavation has been completed. We are currently about 70% with the concrete foundations. We did hit some rock, but we're working through that. Through the winter, we really did not stop at all. The contractor actually worked through. The only days they took off was Christmas and New Year's Day. So we are trying to get through the winter and through the rock issues that we had. Precast members are currently in production. There's a site visit at the plant, which is in Branford, Connecticut, which is going to happen sometime next week. All the panels are being made, the T's, the columns and whatnot. So we'll be able to go see. And there's also precast mock-up panels, which are going to surround the entire building because that's all precast as well. There's brick panels, there's concrete panels and whatnot. You can go to the next slide, please. So we do, like I said, we did hit some rock there. There was 6 locations. There's seven locations that we hit rock. What we've done to mitigate that was we've raised foundations in certain areas so that we can take out less rock than needed to be taken out. So without compromising the structural structure of the building, basically. So to have Con Edison had required us to provide a customer pole because we have a pad-mounted transformer that's going on the site on the Brandreth, along Brandreth, basically. There's a customer pole that has to get installed there. So that's what the customer pole change order is related to.
What's happening over here? Is that your mic? Okay, what's a customer poll?
Customer pole is just another telephone pole that
Oh.
has to get put on our property. So Con Edison there has to be a delineation of work from Con Edison's utility lines or their utility poles to customers, because the transformer has to be on the property of the customer. So
Okay.
they don't come onto the property. So
Who's the customer?
you are the customer.
Okay.
Ossining, the village of Ossining is the customer. again, as I stated, the measures that we took to mitigate the rock excavation, we are trying to bear on rock where we can, and there's areas where we had to raise the foundation so that we can take out less rock that needed to be taken out. The bedrock is very strong and can be used as a foundation.
Thank God. That's why.
Yeah.
Good thing.
So it is a good. So that saves some money, but we do have some anticipated credits as shown there. Some of the rock that's taken out, soil that would have had to have been taken out in place of the rock. That's a credit that should be coming back to the village. There's a retaining wall that was just for an areaway on the north end of the site that was removed because it really wasn't needed. So there's going to be some savings coming back to that. There's a sanitary catch basin down on Brandreth, which is not really required because we can tie into the main on the street without that catch basin. And then again, some of the footings were reduced to mitigate the rock that we found. So
You have a
But-
question?
I just want to add, I think it's important to note that while these change orders are going to incur relatively significant costs, particularly the excavation of the rock, which was not anticipated, we are working now to hone that number because, again, there is some mitigation that offsets the total cubic foot of rock that was removed, which is what drives the change order. So I just want to make sure we're setting expectations. Everybody who's working on this job recognizes that the budget is a very precise budget, and that it is important to come in as close to budget or under budget as possible. Even more so than time, recognizing time and budget are usually linked, but we will be coming back to the board to talk about those change orders and keep you informed throughout the life of the project on that. But I just want to clarify I don't want anybody to have sticker shock, but right now we're working to make sure that doing our best to keep the cost within the contingency.
You know what's great? You kept talking about credit, and all you're talking about is that in the most polite ways, it's totally over budget because of unexpected issues.
not over budget.
I just want to say we are, working to keep within the
I
contingency
heard
of the
you.
total budget.
heard it.
But again, I want to balance and
Yeah.
it's easier for me to sometimes deliver certain messages. But
Yeah,
I just-
it's going to cost, it's already an exceedingly expensive project, which is why boards have not taken this on. We recognize that we cannot keep building and retrofitting without creating parking and green spaces. It's just not possible. There's just only so many linear, and I'm glad there's a lot of rock. I don't like landslides in the Hudson Valley. I don't like sliding things into the Hudson, like people's homes. So I think that's a good idea. But I love that you only talked about credits, so good job. Made me feel good for all of 1 minute. You're not going to speak tonight? Usually you're like the man like speaking.
I know,
I'm like
I know.
waiting for,
But Jim's a little.
well, but I think you guys,
It's a support. So
well, you were part of also the original team. I think it's exciting.
it is. It is.
I hope you guys feel that way, but I think people might have questions, but I walk by there. We all do. It's like behind all the stores and it's across from the community center. And we have gotten complaints about parking and the staging area, and we'll get more. But when you build, this is like, what are you going to do? But it'll be over soon and we'll have more parking. Are you guys done? Is there more?
Yeah, I mean, I would just add, this is.
I think there's more.
I come from a parking background as
Oh, I
well,
thought
and
you
this,
said he was done with this slide. Did you
Oh, this
not say
slide.
this was the end?
you can go to the next slide, but I
Oh,
don't think,
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought that was the last slide.
we're just gonna talk
Sorry
schedule
about
very
that.
quick. And I'll let Dorian do that since he's living it every day, but I do come from a municipal background. This garage, well-maintained, will serve your community for 50 to 60 years. That's how they're designed, and when you see precast, as he was talking, I don't know if everybody knows about precast, goes up like an erector set. But with that, I'll turn it over to schedule. As he indicated, we are, and Dorian more than anybody, really working and the contractor to keep things moving as quickly as can through a tough winter.
Great.
on The rock, so. Schedule real
Thank you,
quick.
Jim. So currently, we were slated to be substantially complete by September of this year. I do want to say there was a fire at the precast plant, and that set
Yeah.
us back a couple of weeks. So it looks like October is the current date, but I think we can pull it back to September because the precast itself, the original date for the precast to start erection or be delivered to the site is March 20th, and that's still happening. So right now it's kind of a little too early to tell, but that's where we stand at this point. So there is another slide after this.
I just want it in 26.
It'll be
Right,
done
Paul?
by the end of this.
Paul standing right behind you. 26.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Just to
Evening.
append something that a couple of things the consultants talked about. Doreen touched a little bit upon the schedule. I'm going to tell you that working through the winter was paramount. We received some delays. Received, wrong word. We ran into some delays with our utility coordination with Con Edison with regard to power supply and such. And we really couldn't start the work until we had that layout completed. So with that delay in the utility approvals from the outside entities, we started a little later than we wanted to. But Dorian did a yeoman's job in playing catch up with the schedule, and we made some change orders with respect to concrete and winter concrete operations, and he caught us up. And that's great news because we're going to meet the schedule and we're not going to have to incur any potential delay claims or any of that gobbledygook that usually surrounds contracts, Wick's Law contracts of this nature. So we're on schedule, which is great. And that's what we want our first DRI project to be, is on schedule. We are still, regardless of the change credit or extra change orders, we still are on budget. I'm happy to say that. And I anticipate finishing on budget. So that's good news too. The reason I'm here to append some comments is because before we're in front of you again, we're going to have a lot of activity out there because in about a month's time, the first pieces from the precaster in Connecticut are going to start getting delivered to the site. So we're already having coordination meetings with the police department, and we've been in touch with the fire department and OVAC because downtown for about a 40-day period is going to be I'll make it analogous to the intersection interruptions when we redid the Five Corners. The Five Corners is going to be child's play compared to this mobilization effort. We're going to have very large pieces of precast coming in on 80-foot trailers from Connecticut. They're going to come down 9A and they're going to have to navigate Church Street to Main Street to Brandreth. And there's going to be a how many tons? 300-ton crane rather. That's the crane itself that's going to pick these pieces to set the Lego pieces in place on this precast parking structure. Has to be constructed on site. The crane is too big to drive here. It has to be erected on site, and when it's done, it's going to be deconstructed and moved off site. That's what we're dealing with, but we're all going to do that within a 40-day window. This is something that this subcontractor has done before, but it is going to be a significant upset to the downtown. We're working with public relations and the manager's office to alert them to these detours, to these parking restrictions, to these parking eliminations for that 40-day window. But it is really our goal to bring it home before the summer, where the parking really does become premium downtown. We're going to try to knock it out in the early spring, where most of the actual erection is completed, and then at that point, going into the latter parts of the schedule, it's going to be the other prime contractors, the electrical, the plumbing, and the HVAC work that needs to be completed, along with the bicycle structure, which really doesn't require a tremendous upset to the downtown operation. So it's exciting. I'm very happy with the schedule and the effort of these gentlemen behind us, and it's going very well.
Couple questions for you. Is on the map that you're showing on the screen right now, is the blue line the route of the precast trucks?
Yeah, that's the precaster came and visited the village. The one who coordinates the trucks and drives the trucks and operates the trucks, and that's right now their present choice.
That's the current plan.
Right,
Okay.
but it may
Subject to
change.
change.
Subject to change, definitely.
Where on the map is the crane going to be?
Dorian will go over there as a pointer.
Just below the green section, I would assume. Okay, that's all right. Okay. Okay, I was just
And again, for the public's benefit, because they couldn't hear Dorian, the short Reader's Digest version of his presentation was that the crane that's being erected on site will remain within the envelope of the building, and the crane that's helping to erect that crane is also within the project scope. The only material that is going to be left overnight and during the day that's going to cause our detour and road closures is going to be on Brandreth. And that's going to be the actual trailers that are bringing in the precast panels that are being constructed and precasted in Connecticut.
okay.
And I could tell you that in my tenure here, we've shut down Brandreth numerous times. We do it with the coordination of particularly the emergency response personnel. And we're going to shut it down probably to the bridge itself. So we'll be able to maintain access from the other side of Brandreth. And we'll also probably maintain at least one lane to get to the bottom of Brandreth. But there is going to be road closures for significant amounts of time during that 40-day window.
Okay, so that's helpful. Will the aqueduct be closed given the proximity of a 150-foot crane?
No, that's not our plan at all. The
Okay,
the
so
crane
people
is
would still
going
be able to walk
the
along
crane
the
is going to
aqueduct?
operate within the envelope of the building.
Okay. So the other thing I would like to just put in a public service announcement for, I heard you talk about you're working with the police department, the fire department. I think it would be good to have some sort of like conversation with the downtown businesses about this, as opposed to just kind of like an email notification or something like that. So happy to have some.
Yeah.
Happy to work with you to figure out some mechanism to do that.
All ready to plan, discuss that with the manager's office. And that's the plan. We're just fine tuning it with the subcontracted crane entities and such. And once we get that tuned in, we're gonna do a blast and public outreach in any way possible. I'm gonna tell you the biggest one's going to be the elimination of parking. That's going to be necessitated by the moving operations of the crane.
Right,
And
so-
we're probably estimating in excess of 25 to 30 spaces for that window.
So I'll say it differently. As opposed to just email communications, I think a verbal conversation would be in order for this to with of some sort. Okay.
Yeah.
As opposed, so just
We did talk,
it's-
the manager and I talked about a public meeting when we have this fine tuned with emergency response personnel. And we'll also do some type of flyer and door to door type correspondence that we do with field staff.
And
We're-
we'll have all this downtown stakeholders at the meeting with the first responders too.
and
Or we're at a meeting like that. So
roughly when will that be?
we have to have the final plan so soon. This doesn't start, I mean, we'll do it as soon as possible, but my experience is if we go out with information that's not fine tuned, like that causes problems too. So we're balancing a few different issues here. As soon as we can get out, the local businesses are a top priority to make sure that they know.
All right. So and I'm only harping on this because I am liaison to the local chamber, right? So all the restaurants there, they're currently making plans for events potentially in March and April when all this is going on. They're doing that now. All right. And so the sooner we can tell them when it's going to happen, even if the details aren't final, I think is important for them to understand so that they can make it.
I think that we want to be able to go out knowing, I want to more closely review this. We've just opened this discussion this week. The parking that we take and everything is still somewhat under discussion. I feel very strongly that, working with this team, we can weigh in to make sure that that has the least impact. While 25 spaces sounds like a lot, there's still going to be ample parking, and it's the location of where those spaces are removed that's going to cause, I just want to make sure we fine tune that. So as soon as we probably can start discussion sometime next week.
Thanks.
Can I, so let me just, okay, so for a 40-day period, there are going to be very large trucks bringing very big pieces of precast concrete down our streets. How many of those trucks do you think a day? Like, is it all day? Is it a couple? Is it, how much can people expect in terms of trucks?
So there's going to be 10 to 12 trucks per day. So there's
Throughout the day?
pretty much 3 blocks of the day that this is going to occur. In the morning, sometime we're still
All
in
day.
the process of discussing it, but it's
All
10
right.
to 12 trucks. As you can see by this drawing, there's 5 trucks, 2 on the site and 3 on Brandreth. That's pretty much how it's going to go. So there's going to be 3 blocks of 5 trucks every day. And then if Brandreth, the discussion is talking about storing some trucks overnight on Brandreth so that the next morning at 7 a.m. they can, or whatever the time is, they can start erecting right away and not have to wait for any trucks. Because those types of trucks there's a restriction for them to be on the roads. They
Yeah.
have to wait till daylight or sunrise. So there's a certain restriction to that size truck to actually start transporting on the road. So there's going to be 5 on the site. It's going to be 3 blocks a day, but the police presence will probably be.
Well, I think if you have, my sons used to love to watch things being built, like with, big trucks and stuff. So we should have a viewing stage for all the little kids to watch it. I actually thought of that. For our youth council, teenagers. I swear. You have to make a safe space, this, but yeah, it has to be safe. But I mean, kind of, you don't see these things go up every day in your backyard, right? So I'll be watching.
If accessible,
You have to speak on the mic.
swing radius of the crane is actually within the site. So where those 2 trucks are that you see on this map here, that's where the crane will pick up the piece of precast and just bring it to the building. So the swing space is what it's called, is from this side of the aqueduct to the building, back and forth. It's not going over the aqueduct, so there's nothing that's going to be not safe on the aqueduct.
And what are the hours that you guys work?
7 to 3:30, I believe.
7 to 3:30, so last sound should be, so you're done at 3:30, generally speaking?
That's for the pre.
That's not bad for the dinner.
Oh, it's done at 3:30. Okay.
And 7 days a week,
5 days a week, but maybe.
Monday
6
through
days.
Friday,
Yes,
Not week.
generally speaking?
yes.
All right, so that's not all.
Yeah, but that's pending schedule and if you need to work Saturdays. Right.
Yeah, but it's not bad, because the
Oh.
restaurants do their business, I think, in the evenings, events are in the evenings, so that's not awful.
Oh.
Yeah. As far as that goes. Are you done, Dana? Have something to say?
Oh, yeah.
Something to add?
Yes, very exciting. Couple things that was mentioned was you're supplying 12 EV spaces right now with the possibility of 33 more,
Total of 30.
total of 33. So the 12 are definitely being wired in.
Correct.
Are you pre-wiring for the balance?
Yes.
Okay, so the first time you came in front of us, I made mention about where they're parked. All right, and you had them spread out. So I requested that they all be in the same area and not next to a regular car. And I've got the chief here, he'll probably agree with me.
So we certainly took that part,
Right.
outer edge.
Okay.
Near the Andress side.
Are you still by the stairwell?
We're near the stairwell.
So are we doing anything to protect that stairwell?
It's.
How far is the?
I think you got several feet.
Okay. I mean, it's a legitimate question because it's a means of egress for people to get out of the building. And if a car or multiple cars are burning, they don't know where it's burning. They're going to come down them stairs. They're going to walk right into this. That's why I'm concerned about protecting that stairwell.
We actually, be honest with you, we have over the amount of stairs that is required for this. You have 3 stairs and we really wouldn't actually have designed that stair if it wasn't for convenience access, but I do understand.
No, understood. But in an emergency, people go
We'll
where they go.
Yeah,
You know.
understood.
So, but my concern was basically make sure that all those cars are grouped together and not near other cars that aren't EVs. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to put my little PSA since I have been electric, my family for years. I have a little Chevy electric. People live in houses, can have them, but people for years that live in apartments just don't have access or the ability to own electric. And now for those that want to go electric, they will, in our community, they will have more options. So I think that's a real added advantage with this construction. Thank you, gentlemen. Anybody else, staff, questions, comments? Good?
Thank you.
Very exciting
Big
stuff. Thank you, gentlemen.
See you in the morning.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, big time tomorrow. Okay, moving on. Corporation Counsel, Stuart Kahan.
Well, since we've been talking about cars, just a few things that folks should be aware of. Even though the village does not prosecute vehicle and traffic tickets, it's actually prosecuted by the town. As of this past Monday, February 16th, on a number of moving violations, the number of points you can assess has gone significantly up. All folks should be aware of this. Just as an example, for a DWI or a DWAI conviction, you will now get 11 points. Before there was actually no points assigned. Aggravated unlicensed operation now is 11. Passing a stopped school bus, which is very, very much seen around here, used to be 5, it's now 8 points. And leaving the scene of an accident is now 5. Important also, they have extended what's called a look-back period. So where it used to be 18 months, they would look back to see if you have how many points you've earned and whether you have to have a hearing or letters. It now goes back to 24 months. Also, if you were under the age of 19 and received a youthful offender violation for DWI, it used to be that would not count. It now will count. So, word to the wise, don't violate the VTL, particularly these particular restrictions, because, for example, speeding in a work zone is now 8 points, where it used to be basically a very varied number. So there's different nuances to all of this, but the bottom line is the state has made it much more onerous on drivers who are found guilty or plead guilty to certain moving violations. And folks should be aware of that. It appears that that will only apply to tickets that are issued after the 16th of February, but we issue these tickets literally every single day. So people should be aware that they could face significant penalties, including essentially the inability to even renew their license. There is essentially now, if you want to call it, for want of a better term, a death penalty with regard to this, that if you earn a certain number of points over a period of time, your license will not be renewed. So just everyone, just be aware of that. And just note it when you're going into court and note it when you're, behind the wheel. Thank you.
Hey,
Police Chief Aaron Zimmerman.
I gave up my administrative reports for Lent.
I thought you were gonna say he stole your thunder.
Oh, no, he did. The same guy scalping, administrative notes in this parking lot must have sold us the same packet because I had the exact same stuff to talk about. So, in any event, but it is kind of crazy that before you used to you could get prison time for a DWI, but no points. So at least now you get both. But in any event, we can skip over the part so to be redundant. So it's gonna be really short. Our desk project has come along very nicely. Just a few punch list things left to do next door. We've moved back to our original space. So it's really pretty nice. It's been at least definitely since the headquarters was put down here back in 2000 that that space has been renovated. So over 25 years in the making. So pretty good stuff.
Everybody's being very polite today. A nice way of saying we've been waiting for 2.5 decades for somebody to put, 21st century.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I
technology
just meant,
into the
it's
front
been
desk.
great stuff.
The yeah,
April will be
no,
next.
our thing for 26 is for when we have $1, it's going for infrastructure, improvement on safety for police, fire. These buildings have not gotten the love and attention they should have. Our village has a larger population. It's still 3.5 square miles. That hasn't changed. We haven't actually grown the real estate, apparently, just the people. So we're investing, and that was part of the project, budget discussion, is to invest in infrastructure, safety, building, your stuff, all of this discussed in the budget meetings.
Yep.
So I'm glad it's happened.
Yeah, us too. So to close it out, I guess, as you know, we take training very seriously, and we're adding 2 more field training officers, which are probably 2 of, one of the most important training aspects we do next door is when we train rookie cops coming out of the academy. So adding to the ranks of our field training officers are Emily Costa and Rob Pilati. Both do a great job. So congrats to them.
Thank you.
Organization announcements. Announcements must be event-related only and shall be no longer than 2 minutes in length. Is there anyone that wishes to talk about an event? Seeing no one here, is there anyone online that would like to raise their virtual hand? Okay, moving on. Public comment on agenda items. Visitors are accorded a 4-minute opportunity to address the board on any of the resolutions on the agenda. Is anyone here that wishes to speak on that? Is there anyone in the virtual world that would like to speak on that? Visitor recognition. Visitors shall be accorded a 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues relating to the agenda, not relating to the agenda, excuse me, but of relevance to the common good of the village. Is there anyone here?
Evening. Once again, it's Tanja Ridgeway from 68 North Malcolm Street. In addition to what I had spoken about before, was wondering if possibly you guys could think about turning Malcolm Street into a one-way with alternate side of the street parking. I think that might help with some of the congestion that's going on in the area because of the amount of this coming from Van Wyck, Snowden area. If you guys could just plot someone there, whether it's a police officer, someone on your board, anyone, to just come and take a video or just observe it, will understand what the concerns are. Like my neighbor said, we grew up on that street. We used to be able to run up and down that street, roller skate, ride bikes, play double dutch, kickball, the whole 9 yards. None of these kids that are growing up in that neighborhood can do that because of that congestion and the speeding that goes on that block. And especially with the bad winter that we had, this summer is going to be a disaster. So we need all the help that we can get from you guys, police department, the board, to assist us with having a better quality of life on North Malcolm Street.
Thank you. I think that's a topic, like we've talked every meeting, not every meeting, last 2 meetings we've had people coming in about parking, about lack of parking in all the neighborhoods. It's the same thing. We can't grow the streets, and there are just more people living in houses that used to have a family. Now there are a couple families and all sorts of stuff. I don't have to, people live here know what I'm saying. So I think that one of the things, the reason we were late, we were just meeting with the village manager, Trustee and I, about topics like this. Zoning, we've been spending a lot of time looking at zoning. That's how you change it. We legislate, but the engineer, where did Paul go?
He left.
Steve? So the engineer, chief of police, we have a long list of neighborhood people. Last week, I think, or 2 weeks of Sparta, about parking and stuff, Hunter Street, we've got these neighborhoods. And we can't do one neighborhood in one street. We learned, because you change one street, well, then move all the same issues, go parallel street, and then that street, and then they go on. And so we need to look at neighborhoods and holistically, and it's a project that we actually are looking at different neighborhoods. But it's important that folks come from neighborhoods and tell us what the problems are. We all live here. We all live here. So many of us for generations, some for decades, others for a few years. So we need people to come and say, look, here's the issue. What can we do? Here's some ideas. So I appreciate you bringing that up as well. But it is a project that, just like what you're seeing tonight, comes from years of people saying we need parking, And so we do actually look at this very seriously. So thank you. Is there anybody else? Anybody online?
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Village Board resolutions. Approval of minutes, February 4th, 2026. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the February 4th, 2026 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of voucher detail report, February 18th, 2026. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated February 18th, 2026 in the amount of $2,380,098.91. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the IBWTP, which is the Water Treatment Plant Voucher Detail Report, February 18th, 2026. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the IBWTP Voucher Detail Report dated February 18th, 2026, in the amount of $2,400,860.12. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Ossining Fire Department, proposal for SCM. Resolved that upon review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the January 14th, 2026 proposal from SCM 125 Wireless Boulevard, Suite 2,
Hopog.
I'm sorry?
Hopog.
Oh, yeah. I
Didn't get there yet. Wireless was sweet to hop
he
hog.
overestimates me.
Oh, he is.
There you go.
You were going to get it wrong.
And it's okay.
I've been here 10
You
years.
did know hop hog, though. There'll be others in here. Don't worry. Hopog, New York, in the purchase of biometric vehicle mounting equipment to support the Ossining Fire Department Length of Service Award Program, or LOSAP. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On comments, tell me again the amount. Because this was not originally budgeted for. Is it 26,000? What's the amount? No, it's 50.
I got it. I got it. It's 18,000 and change.
Oh,
Which
thank
again
you.
was under the $20,000 that we had remaining in the operating fund for this project.
Okay, thank you. Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain. That was cute. Submit grant application. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to submit the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, DHSES, a grant application for fiscal year 2025-26, Volunteer Fire Infrastructure and Response, B-Fire Grant Program. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Under comments, can somebody tell me what this is, please?
This is the grant that we discussed last week that provides for, we're going to be asking for funding for
the dispatch radio and repeaters at headquarters, as well as key fobs and
Right, okay, thanks.
camera system.
All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
Aye.
Wrong one, yeah.
Village Manager proposal from Labella Associates. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the February 5th, 2026 proposal from Labella Associates, 1 North Broadway, Suite 803, White Plains, New York, to provide staff augmentation services for the village building department. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Who moved it?
Who was the
Omar?
second?
And
On the
Dave was
second.
the second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Board of Trustees resolution approving 2026 cabaret license in the Village of Ossining, whereas pursuant with chapters 100 and 171 of the code in the Village of Ossining, the authorized representative Den of Wax LLC presented an application to the village clerk licensing officer for the 2026 half-year cabaret license, and whereas the Board of Trustees reviewed the application on February 11th, 2026 work session, hearing from Captain Brendan Donahue and Corporation Counsel Stuart Kahan. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant with the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the 2026 half-year cabaret license for the following business: Den of Wax, LLC, 175 Main Street, Ossining, New York. Monday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. The licensee shall submit to the license officer licenses issued by New York State Liquor Authority before each license scheduled event, and therefore be it further resolved that the licensee shall comply with the conditions noted on the cabaret license. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Board of Trustees, referring honorary street naming application for to the village historian. Whereas on January 26, an application was received by Diane E. Lemon, Ossining, New York, seeking an honorary naming of the corner of South Highland Avenue and Croton Avenue, in memory of Charmaine Powell, who resided at 4 Croton Avenue. And whereas the application by Diane E. Lemon meets with the basic criteria for honorary street naming, now therefore be it resolved that the application from Diane E. Lemon referring to the village is referred to the village historian in accordance with the Village of Ossining honorary street naming policy, and that the village historian shall present her report to the Board of Trustees within 45 days of the referral. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
I just want to let the board know, I think it was in the emails, this went back and forth, but Joyce Rock Cole spoke to Diana. They're going through our process, which we put in place a few years ago. So it should come in front of us at the end of this. We haven't had a street naming in a while. Exciting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Board of Trustees proposed assessment snow removal, 37 Croton Avenue, whereas the Ossining Lodge 1460, the Royal Order of the Moose, is the owner of the property at 37 Croton Avenue. And whereas the owners failed to timely remove snow and ice from the sidewalk in front of the property along Croton Avenue, and whereas the snow removal by Villa and Sons Construction Company, the village's contractor, on February 22nd, 2026, at the village's request, and whereas the owners were sent a notice of proposed assessment of costs and notices of hearing, noting the total amount of $345.60, consisting of an invoice of work performed, $288, plus 20% administrative fee, $57.60. And whereas a hearing on February 18th, the Board of Trustees discussed the assessment, and now therefore be it resolved that the itemized costs noted were just and reasonable, and be it further resolved that the amount of so assessed is not paid within 30 days after the assessment by this board. The village treasurer is directed to include the assessment in the next annual tax levy to be collected and enforced in the same manner as property taxes. Total amount due, $345.60. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Point of clarity, it's the January 22nd, not February 22nd.
I'm sorry. Did I say February?
Yeah.
I apologize. Yes, January 22nd. Yeah. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Board of Trustees proposed snow proposed assessment snow removal, 110 Croton Avenue. Whereas William J. Davis, the owner of the property at 110 Croton Avenue, and whereas the owner failed to timely remove snow and ice from the sidewalk along Croton Avenue in front of the property, and whereas the snow was removed by Villa and Sons Construction Company, the village's contractors, on January 22nd, 2026, at the village's request, and whereas the owners were sent a notice of proposed assessment for costs and a notice of hearing noting that the total amount would be $460.80, consisting of an invoice of work performed, $384, plus a 20% administration fee of $76.80. And whereas at the hearing on February 18th, 2026, the Board of Trustees discussed the assessment, and now therefore be resolved that the itemized cost noted was just and reasonable, and to be it further resolved that the amount so assessed is not paid within the 30 days after the assessment by the board. The village treasurer is directed to include the assessment of the next annual tax levy to be collected and enforced in the same manner as the property tax. The amount is $460.80. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Board of Trustees, referral of proposed zoning text amendment to Planning Board, battery energy storage systems. Whereas the Board of Trustees is considering an amendment to Chapter 270 zoning, adding a new article, XXII, which is 22, a temporary moratorium on battery energy storage systems. Now therefore be resolved that pursuant with the Section 270-59, the Village of Ossining Code, the Board of Trustees refers to the proposed zoning text amendment to the Planning Board, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board shall issue its report on the proposed text amendment to the zoning board within 62 days of this referral, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees February 4th, 2026 resolution calling for a public hearing is recalled.
Yeah, Stuart, you want to explain this one, please?
Well, the recall is because at the last time the board scheduled a public hearing, but it was done before it was referred to the planning board. So it must go to the planning board first. And rather than rescheduling the public hearing, we'll just renotice it with a new resolution once we hear from the planning board.
And how does this relate to the moratorium?
This is the local law on the moratorium, which has to go to the planning board because it's a zoning text change.
Got it.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Board of Trustees, referral to proposed zoning text amendment for the Planning Board, extension of the moratorium in RDD and SPN zoning districts. Whereas the Board of Trustees is considering an amendment to Chapter 270 zoning, extending the moratorium on the construction of any residential units in the SPN Station Plaza North zoning district for an additional 4 months from March 17th, 2026 to July 17th, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant with Section 270-59 of the Village of Ossining Code, the Board of Trustees refers to the proposed zoning text amendment to the Planning Board, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board shall issue its report on the proposed text amendments to the Zoning Board within 62 days of its referral, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees February 4th, 2026 resolution calling for a public hearing is recalled. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, one more. Board of Trustees lease agreement, 56 Browning Drive. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign a third amendment for the lease agreement of the New York SMSA Limited Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, relating to a village-owned property at 56 Browning Drive. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. Resolution N, Board of Trustees, 50 North Malcolm Street, U.S. Help, Inc. Whereas U.S. Help, Inc., DBA Ossining Muslim Community Center is the owner of 50 North Malcolm Street and 36 Ann Street in the village of Ossining. And whereas the properties are located in the T two-family zoning district, which zoning district currently is the subject of a moratorium relating to conditional uses. And whereas U.S. Help, Inc. submitted an application to the Board of Trustees for an exception to the moratorium pursuant to Section 270-112 of the Village Code. And whereas while U.S. Help Inc.'s application to the Board of Trustees for an exception to the moratorium pursuant to the code is currently pending, U.S. Help Inc.'s representative seeks approval from the Board of Trustees to use 50 North Malcolm Street during the Festival of Ramadan, scheduled to begin on the evening of February 17, 2026, and concluding at sundown on March 18, 2026. And whereas on February 4 and 11, 2026, the Board of Trustees heard from representatives of U.S. Help Inc. and village staff and discussed a request for use of 50 North Malcolm Street. Now therefore be it resolved that the request by U.S. Help Inc. to use 50 North Malcolm Street premises during Ramadan is granted pursuant to the following conditions. Building department personnel will be afforded access to the premises to determine the occupancy limit for the room where Ramadan services and iftar, meal eaten after sundown, are to occur, and that the premises are in compliance with the 2025 Fire Code of the State of New York. Should any violations be observed, such violations must be cured before the premises can be used. Building department to issue an operating permit for the premises limited to the dates and times noted below. Obtain a change in commercial occupancy permit. The premises shall be used only during the following dates and times: Friday, February 27 and Saturday, February 28 from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for afternoon prayers and from approximately 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. for services and iftar, time depending on sundown. Friday, March 6 and Saturday, March 7 from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for afternoon prayers and from approximately 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. for service and iftar. Friday, March 13 and Saturday, March 14 from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for afternoon prayers and from approximately 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. for service and iftar. There will be no cooking or preparation of food on the premises. All food and for iftar will be brought to the premises. There will be no call to prayer. Those attending services by car shall park at 173 North Highland Avenue. No parking will be permitted on the premises, and be it further resolved that permission to use the premises shall be immediately rescinded if any of the above referenced conditions are violated. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Thank you we had a very, if you want to look at it, at the last work session, there was a very long and detailed conversation. It's an exception to what is normally done, but because of a religious holiday, the board, well, there were four of us and it was split. But basically for Ramadan, and then we're going to go through the regular process. That's a separate conversation. For this specific, so we detailed the agreement as to exactly what's supposed to happen, and if it doesn't, there will be ramifications. So we're in the middle of a vote. Yes? Okay. Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
All nays?
I'm a no.
Okay. Okay. Is there any continuing business of the board?
Said yes.
I'm a reluctant yes.
You're reluctant, yes. She doesn't do reluctant. She does
Okay, then
yes, no, or
you
abstain.
can mark me down as a no.
Okay. So I want to make sure that get this, we don't like exceptions to processes. Spend a lot of time getting a process in place, so we're clear on this so that the holiday can be observed. Sue,
Thank you.
next.
Any continuing business of the board? Any new business of the board?
New business of the board, we have two resolutions. I'll read the first one. Board of Trustees petitioning the United States government to address ICE and CBP abuses. Whereas the Village of Ossining is committed to protecting the health, safety, and welfare of all residents and to upholding the rights guaranteed by the United States Constitution, the New York State Constitution, and the laws of the State of New York. And whereas the Board of Trustees recognizes that the United States Constitution safeguards due process and equal protection under the law. And whereas the Board of Trustees believes that deployment of United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and United States Customs and Border Protection, CBP, agents in communities across the United States has resulted in tactics that have included excessive death and even deadly physical force. And whereas the Village of Ossining is a community of engaged citizens who seek to ensure that immigration laws are administered fairly, justly, and with respect for the dignity and rights of all persons. And whereas the Village of Ossining values community policing practices that build trust between law enforcement and residents. And whereas the Board of Trustees believes that the abusive tactics and practices by ICE and CBP are detrimental to appropriate and effective law enforcement and are contrary to best practices. Now therefore be it resolved that in order to protect the lives of our residents and to safeguard the peace and welfare of our communities, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining petitions the United States government to protect our communities by taking the following steps: conduct an independent investigation of tactics and practices employed by ICE and CBP, adopt procedures to prevent abusive tactics and practices by ICE and CBP, including the adoption of more rigorous and enhanced training to instruct ICE and CBP agents to respect civil rights and to use appropriate and measured responses, consider reform of immigration enforcement through the restricting of the aforementioned enforcement agencies, and be it further resolved that the Ossining Police Department will follow its policy regarding inquiring about immigration status, including as the policy relates to interaction with federal immigration authorities. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees request that federal, state, and county elected officials consider the above steps and support action to have the steps adopted and implemented. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, the majority and minority leaders of the United States Senate, Senators John Thune and Charles Schumer, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Congressman Michael Lawler, Governor Kathy Hochul, State Senator Pete Harckham, State Assemblyperson Dana Levenberg, Westchester County Executive Ken Jenkins, and Westchester County Legislator Emiliana Ulaj. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second, although I will note Emiliana's name is misspelled.
Oh, I didn't see that.
My apologies. This
Well,
was
good.
done on a rush.
So I will leverage that door that was just open. It's under new business because I put this together. I normally talk to board members and we would
Okay.
have some conversation, but I actually did this very quickly. So I'm going to do the conversation now because the board is a first and second and can say no or table it or whatever. So, really a conversation to the public and to the board, and I just didn't get a chance to speak to all of you. So there are other mayors in different communities, but in the river towns, Tarrytown is passing this, Sleepy most likely will, Hastings, Irvington. There are other communities, and there are more than that. The issue is that there are mayors on the front line and others who are concerned about what we're seeing in different communities. This is not a comment specific about whether or ICE should or shouldn't do anything. Federal agencies are not within our purview. They're not in our portfolio. We have no say in what federal agencies are, their own forces. And in most cases, they're actually terrific. They are the agencies that work with local agencies and police departments to curb human trafficking, for example, drugs, and all sorts of other stuff. But in the immigration issue that has popped up, it seems that our local police, including our own police department, are actually trained differently, have different rules they function under. And it seems odd to many of us that federal agencies do not follow, at the very least, what local police officers have to do. I would tell you that in Ossining, we're like the poster child for training. We had the presentation from police. We, I believe, train at about the requirement, the average police officer in the United States gets about 22 hours training, technology, engagement, safety, all sorts of stuff. Ours gets, I'm trying to get my little numbers, but I believe it's 260. It's 10 times the national average. And in New York State, the requirement, the minimum is 40 hours. ICE doesn't actually get that kind of training. So many of the mayors who spend lots of time and a lot of our budget demanding that our local police officers have badges, show their names, and have due process in place, it seems odd that federal agencies, which are funded in such a dramatic way, are not doing that. A lot of this is about that piece of federal agencies coming into our community. So I present this to our board because it really belongs at the national level, which is why we're sending it to Lawler, Levenberg, the governor. We actually, as much as people would like us to step in, we actually have absolutely zero authority to step in, whether we like it or not, whether we're Democrats or Republicans or neither, doesn't matter. We have no authority. And in Ossining, our police has no authority. In other communities, police do work together with ICE. That is up to their elected officials who represent them. Here, they do not at any level. And that's why the resolution actually states they are to stay exactly with what we've been agreeing to since probably 2018, by the way, and we just updated it. So that's the resolution that Stuart helped together. It's almost word for word of what Tarrytown, Irvington, and Hastings, and there are others that are this week, actually. We're asking our national representative and state representative to step up and see what they can do based on behavior and training. That's really the two key points. Questions, comments?
So this is the first we're hearing this.
That is why it's on new business, yes. And don't want to pass it tonight and talk more about it, I'm happy to do it. But I put it in, that's why it's under new business.
Okay, well, I'll go on record. I'm in favor of tabling it.
I'm just going down the line like I always. If you don't want to, I can go this way. I'm not offended, I'm not insulted, I just wanted to present it.
I conceptually I'm in favor of it. I understand the need, and I think we've seen results from the level of effort that our local police department put in escalation, all sorts of stuff. So I'm very much in. But I think it warrants like just a little more discussion.
Okay, fair enough. Dana?
I think it's good that the river towns kind of stand together and have a similar philosophy and similar approach to this issue. I think this is a great effort. I mean, I have no personal problem with any of the wording or anything. So, but if people want to discuss it, I'm more than willing to do that. But I'm basically in favor of it.
I pretty much agree with Dana that I agree with the content. I think that the struggle that I have is the disconnect between what I see and what I read. So what I see is certainly disturbing. The enforcement of immigration policy in this country has been nothing short of a disaster. And I think that any clear-eyed view of it is obvious. I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything outrageous. I think anybody that looks at it, it's pretty clear. Irrespective of how you feel about immigration enforcement, the way it's being done is ridiculous. And I like the idea of us saying, hey, that's not right. We think that's not right. I like that. I think that some of this, that's what I see. And what I read is, like conducting an independent investigation of tactics and practices employed by ICE and CBP and all the rest. It's just so difficult because the federal administration has shown just absolute zero ability to do that and interest in doing that. They lie so frequently, so brazenly, so reflexively that it feels like, for whom is this? So if you were to get everyone on this list, pretty much from the bottom to about the middle, they generally would agree, I think, up until when you get to the folks that are federal and certainly to the president. I think most people would agree, yeah, investigate and all of that. But look at what's happening with the Alex Preddy case, where the federal government isn't turning over any of the evidence to the local department for their investigation. So, I mean, the whole thing is just incredibly disturbing. And we talk about it in a little bit of like a sanitized, professional, distanced way, but it is just awful. And so I love that we're saying something, even if this doesn't materially produce anything, for me to be able to look into the camera and say, we're standing up with other communities here in the Hudson River Valley to say that this is not okay. For that reason alone, you've got 2 of my votes. I'm in 100%. And whether we wordsmith it at a work session or whatever, I think that this is conceptually exactly where I would want our board to be.
Thank you. So I normally am the one that hates when people do new business stuff, as you all know. I literally have just 3-day weekend and it's a legislative, we can do a resolution. But I am a type of mayor that, and we have all different types. I could break the vote with my vote tonight. I'm not going to. I really believe that this board works really well as a team. And so I go for unanimity. I don't hear anything that is bad. It's all exactly like what it should be. They're having conversation. We'll get through not smithing. Somebody can say, take this entire paragraph out. It did give me an opportunity to look back at presentation that the police did as part of police reform, as part of community engagement, as part of our new chief, the data from the police being so much better in our local police. It was astounding to me. Expectation and level of expertise and professionalism that we expect of local village cops who, trust me, are not getting paid or have the kind of budgets for everything that you get at the federal, and how much more is expected of them. And it's almost got to a point of infuriating. We at a local level have to run around with our little budgets. And the kind of work that our own cops do. So I'm honored that our police do such a great work and that they're a chief who believes in education and training and all of that stuff, and boards that approve those budgets. And we will table. And we can't enforce, we can't make the governor do any of this. I mean, I think it's understood, but it really is more of like the river towns coming together. And it's, I think, the Hudson Valley, actually, not all communities, but many. And we'll open for conversation, as Bob Fritchie started a conversation about it, and I appreciate that. And so going to vote to table it. Huh?
And we have.
We need a motion to table.
We
Yeah.
have a motion to table Resolution A under new business.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of tabling?
Aye. Thank you all.
We have a second resolution under new business, Ossining Volunteer Fire Department, authorizing the fire department to accept a grant of $2,500 from Staying Alive, Inc. Resolved that the chief engineer of the Ossining Fire Department or his designee is authorized to sign a grant agreement for $2,500 from Staying Alive, Inc., P.O. Box 104, Armonk, New York, toward the purchase of a 380 MIL-HD 12.5-foot inflatable boat with welded seams.
2,500.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I need to know what this boat is, what it's
No,
supposed
we
to
actually
do.
have.
Yes, I noticed. They come in the uniforms. We're very aware they've been sitting here. I need to know what's happening here.
Hello, Mayor and the board.
Hello.
Joseph Rinaldi, Second Assistant Chief, Ossining Fire Department. So last year we started with this Staying Alive grant. Last year JT Camp spearheaded this in getting us some water rescue equipment. Last year we purchased a bunch of flotation devices for persons and throw bags, rescue equipment. In the past years, the flooding has gotten worse, and with these hurricanes, especially with Hurricane Ida 2021, we saw Route 9A, Water Street, Revolutionary Road, they all flooded. We had members going in with absolutely nothing, and people were trying to get out of their homes wherever. We had to go in chest deep of water to get them out. We've had a boat, however, it was purchased back in, I want to say 2001, 2002-ish, that replaced another boat that was destroyed in Hurricane Floyd back in 99. That boat we cannot use for what we need it for. That boat is a V-bottom fiberglass boat. This one is quick to deploy. It's rapid. It's only 200 pounds, so we can attach it to our utility vehicle, bring it to where we have to go, carry it right in, and it goes. It's a flat bottom, aluminum, and inflatable boat. This is just to complement everything we're doing with the water rescue equipment that we have. We can go forward and train. I don't know if you have the total cost there.
Well, it says 2,500 on here.
We're getting, yeah, so we have a grant for 2,500 that they're giving us towards this.
And how much is the total cost?
Total with shipping and everything is $4,889.50.
And that's that's through Sourcewell.
Sourcewell, yes. So there,
Purchasing
Where,
consortium.
where do you put this boat? You're not putting it on the Hudson.
No,
So
no.
where, I misunderstood this whole thing. So tell me, where are you putting? Give me a real scenario so I understand what this boat is for.
So it will be housed on Main Street with the utility vehicle, the special operations vehicle, and it would trailer anywhere we have to go. So if there's a call on Route 9A or Water Street, like we've had in the past, that are getting worse with flooding, we could drive it down there, carry it right to the water, drop it in. We can go over, take people out wherever we have to go, put it right
This
back.
is to take people like out of their homes or move them?
Yes.
So it's
Or-
not going on any main river or anything like that?
It could be used for the pond, say if that's park, anywhere, any body of water.
Not the Hudson.
Not the Hudson, no.
Right. So it's to get people, okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
because I don't
And
know.
what other costs are we talking about? I saw something about an engine not being like, what other costs are there?
No, there's no engine.
Well, Chief, the only question I have is, and I apologize because
It's okay.
I know this like I know Catholic doctrine, which is not much. The manufacturer's estimate, which is $1,000 more, they said that it's to be used with a long shaft engine. So I don't, is that something that is separate from?
That would be yeah, that's an add-on that you can
Okay.
put, but we're not going to use it for that application.
So do you row it? You'll row?
You can, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Or we're going to walk it in, depending on how deep it is. Now that we have these personal flotation devices, we can use it for that. 4 of our vehicles will be equipped with them.
I should also point out that the Sourcewell agreement, through the manufacturer, if we had purchased through them, it would have been shipped from San Diego. The cost of shipping was about 1/3 the cost of the machine.
Yes.
For the boat. It's about, shipping now is about just $400.
$400 compared to
nearly 1,000.
Go ahead.
I get what you're trying to do with it. You're trying to use shallow water rescue. Totally get that. I struggle with the concept of not having power on it, right? From my perspective, just because, especially if the water's running, or if the water, like if the river's coming up, you're going to be in the tide. The tide's going to be moving. It goes to shallower water. It goes faster. Like I struggle with not having power on it. So I, consider that, even if it's just a 15 or 12.5 or something, right? To give you.
Yeah, we could look into it in the future as an add-on. But as of right now, it's just the boat.
You could,
Yeah.
I don't know when we're going to have floods again, but. I
You never
guess,
know.
Yeah.
When you use it, you'll see how much you need it or not.
Yeah. So, I've been a fair amount of time in the water and
Not pretty.
no, it's, and I've been like, I've lost power on the Hudson. So I know what it can do, right? Like quickly.
You're not going on the Hudson with this
No.
under any scenario, right?
Well,
No.
Okay.
If the Hudson's overflowing the banks, you're kind of in the Hudson. Hudson
Yeah.
up to you, right? That would be my biggest thing, right? You answered my other big question, which was kind of like operating cost, storage, like that kind of stuff. It's, rapid deployment, kind of, assuming that you'll just use existing air compressors on the utility vehicle to blow it up.
So this boat itself can be filled with our air bottles that we already have on our SCBAs.
Okay.
So they could just, there's an attachment, you just put it right on and fill them up.
Okay, that's what the SCBA the adapter. Got it. That was my other question. Like, how are you going to deploy it?
So how much do we have to put into this that's not in the grant? And
What
you
if-
need to be certified to be on this thing? Any certification, education,
We will start
life
training.
jackets?
Yeah, that's what we got last year was the life jackets. So we're going to start training right when we get this.
Any extra cost?
I'm aware of.
Boats.
It's 4,889 minus the 2,500.
Be 2389.50, and I'm advised by Dale from this afternoon that there are currently unencumbered funds in the equipment line of $16,722.
So this will be taken out of there?
Yes.
Okay. So it's
That-
not the
that-
2,500 that we're spending 10 minutes on or 15. It is the continuous, not just your department, but departments. Entire budget discussions and then, but now there's training. Oh, now we need this. Oh, by the way, we need more insurance. Oh, we need certificate. and you get these grants, and I personally have been adamant with our youth bureau and others, if the grant doesn't cover both cost of the material and everything that comes around it, which oftentimes costs more than the product, I personally will vote a no. I know it's not a lot of money. Believe me. It's past 2 million something for some, I get, and you know that because we have passed lots of money for the fire department. It's this constant, like all the excessive surprises. And then once you own something, it's like, how can you not then do training? How can you? So we're asking all these questions, not here in 3 months to tell us that, by the way, we need another 2,000 because that's why we're asking the question.
I understand.
Nothing more than that. Not even the amount of money, it's that. What are the other surprises?
So can you just take a minute and explain training, that there is no cost to the training?
He did.
No.
He said there isn't any.
Okay.
He
And
answered
there
the
are
question.
most of our members are already trained
He said it's,
prior.
and it's not like other boats where you have to buy a trailer. You pay to clear, you've already got all of that.
My,
All that stuff is
Stuart, my question in reference to what you said about Dale, the $16,000, is that from last year's budget
unencumbered,
on
right?
equipment?
So there's money for it.
But that's for this year's budget.
Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments? Thank you. We're voting, it's new, it was put under new business, so, thanks. Right,
Aye.
aye.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Executive session,
Oh.
legal matter.
So I moved.
So moved. Second, third.
Okay, who is the?
Dana, so moved.
Bob seconded.
Okay, good.
Executive session.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. 9:16. We will see everybody next week at 16 Croton. Have a good evening.